everybody, welcome back to the Stash Project. This is going to be our January 2019 compilation video. For everybody who's new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Second of all, to give you the principle of these videos, we do them at the beginning of the month or thereabouts every month, and it basically is a rundown of all of the kits we expect to see released from all of the manufacturers here on the automotive side of things in the 1/24 scale. We don't, and 1/25 scale. Occasionally we'll throw 1/32 scale kit in there if it's something vintage from the AMT folks like we have for this month, because I know a lot of people are collecting those, not that they're reissuing them. But generally speaking, we avoid other scales just because I don't build them, and neither do most people. I mean, we'll mention stuff when it's announced, but we don't really follow it. Sorry. Obviously, we don't do military stuff here. We don't do sci-fi stuff here. This is a automotive-only channel, since I feel the need to repeat all this stuff since this is officially the first video of 2019. So Happy New Year also to everyone out there. So let's take a look at what we're going to blow our cash on fresh out of our Christmas debt, shall we? Sure. All right, so we have several things coming out of round 2 this month. Some a little more desirable than others, and sort of makes up for the sort of lackluster December that they had. So over at Polar Lights, they're going to once again reissue their Volkswagen Beetle Snap-Tight kit, this time with a Coca-Cola tie-in, a Coca-Cola livery decal set for it, as it were. Expect nothing out of the ordinary in terms of the kit. The kit has been reissued a number of times, seemingly at least once a year, in some sort of superhero tie-in or something along those lines. This time it has the Coca-Cola livery tie-in. Obviously, we're milking that Coca-Cola license for everything that we can get it attached to, basically. Over at MPC, 2 kits for January. One is going to be a reissue of the 32 Ford sedan delivery. This is the old Switchers series kit. Once again, this also is going to have a Coca-Cola livery tie-in, so absolutely nothing new here in terms of the kit expected. There's no mention of any new parts, retool parts, ungated parts, or anything else. Just the run-of-the-mill 32 sedan delivery as it's been done or in the past several reissues, except for, of course, Coca-Cola decals. And then the second kit out of MPC is going to be the 1969 season Tom McEwen front engine dragster. So this is not sponsored by Coca-Cola, shockingly enough, but it is going to have several new pieces tooled for it, including engine injectors, a new intake scoop, and also a new front wing. So new parts to convert the dragster to something that looks a little more like what he actually ran that year. It's going to be molded in what they're calling Mongoose Blue Metallic. So for folks who like the bare plastic shtick, there's something there for you guys. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know how anybody else feels about the pre-colored plastic for your convenience. The thing with metallic plastic, it seems to almost always have swirls or something in it where you can't really use it. You have to paint it anyway. Then over at AMT, 3 kits for the month of January. One is a 1/32 scale 1960 Ford Thunderbird. That is, of course, what is now being called the Scale Stars series, which is the old All Star series kits that were done pretty much, as slot cars, with a chassis and interior and things like that. Unlike a lot of 1/32 scale plastic kits, there is chrome runners in these kits, so they do have chrome bumpers and things like that. The next release for AMT is going to be a reissue of their Chevy van, this time with an NYPD tie-in. So it's a reissue of the police van. It's the first time that the police van has been reissued in this format since the mid-1970s. It is going to have things like the rear step bumper and the prisoner seat and things like that. It is a 3-in-1 kit. You can build a stock van, a custom van, or the police van out of it. There's been some arguments online over the decals and whether or not they're actually appropriate for the vehicle, or whether the NYPD actually used Chevy vans at all in the 1970s, which they didn't, but that's beside the point. Build it, enjoy it, have fun with it, I guess. And then the last kit out of AMT we expect for January is a reissue of the 1960 Chevrolet Fleetside pickup truck. This is the 1990s era tooling that has been done several times in the past. This time is going to have the addition of a vintage go-kart. The go-kart pieces are similar to what was in the 1970s Dodge pickup trucks, but it is going to be basically a retooled little, little itty bitty model, add-on model kit basically, that is mostly new tooling. It's sort of inspired by, rather than the actual tooling of the actual vintage go-kart. One other kit that we are at this moment sort of kind of expecting in January on the domestic side of things would be from Salvino's JR Model. We expect to see the first one of their Monte Carlo kits, the Donnie Allison 1978 Final Victory car, the Hawaiian Tropic livery car. Last we heard, they were expecting to ship the second week of January, so we'll see where we are with that once the New Year's holidays and everything flow through and everybody's back on their regular work schedules and things like that. The last update we really received on this was in November, and they were waiting for parts to come back from the chrome plating process. So assuming they come back in time, maybe you'll get that this month as well. So everything else is going to be an overseas release, primarily all of Japan this month. I don't see anything from Europe tossed in here. One kit from Tamiya that we should expect to see in North America as well as possibly Europe as well will be the 2018 Ford GT. This will be the street car. Remember, the race car is a Revell kit. The street car is going to be the Tamiya kit. Brand new tooling. This kit was actually in development for quite a while, more than a year, probably closer to 2. It was actually originally expected to come out last year in 2018, possibly late 2017. If you're really up on your kit numbering, we've talked about this in the past with the Tamiya kit numbering, when we talked about conjecture and speculation about major hobby shows. There was always a part number missing as far as the kit numbering system goes, where the kit between the AMG and the reissue of the Nissan 370Z Heritage Edition was missing. There was no kit there. And where was this kit? What was this kit? Well, it was the Ford GT. And so nothing's ever really been said about that. I would speculate, this is conjecture, purely on what I've sort of heard, rumblings wise. How true any of it is, I couldn't tell you for sure. But it seems like they were trying to get it as accurate as they could to the production vehicle, the actual street vehicle, rather than basing it strictly off of the prototypes that were going around to the car shows. So that required them to actually build one, which didn't actually happen until the end of 2016, beginning of 2017 in terms of the actual production, and then they had to get hold of one of the production vehicles, which required somebody in Japan to have, or a friendly country where they have access to it, to get one, because of course the first 2 years of production for the Ford GT this year and last year were for hand-picked customers. The 2019 cars are supposed to be going to people who were passed over in the initial run, but were still, preferred Ford customers. And then the 2020 cars are supposed to go to just whoever can buy one off the lot. I believe there are going to be actually additional vehicles built, whether or not that's going to lengthen the actual production run, or if they're just going to build more vehicles per year at the factory. I haven't really bothered to research. It is what it is, but I know that there were so many orders for them, and this car was so popular that they actually decided to increase the production run beyond the initial announced number of cars. So in Japan, we still don't have a pre-order for that kit. I expect that probably we will see that pop up after the holidays are over here, here in Japan. We're in the United States. In Japan, where we are just getting off our holiday break, they're just going on to theirs. Their holiday break just started yesterday on the 31st, and they will be on break all of this week. So I would expect the pre-order slot for that to pop up when they come back in the second week of January, if not sooner, because I'm going to guess that that's going to be a February release in Japan itself. So for those of us who will direct import, still be a little while on that. For those people who buy their kits locally, you're going to probably get yours before everybody else in that scheme of things, certainly before the people in Japan. So over at Fujimi, several reissues this month. Reissue of the Honda McLaren MP46. It's going to come with 3 specific livery choices as far as associate sponsorships and things like that for the Brazil Grand Prix, the San Marino Grand Prix, as well as the Japanese Grand Prix. The Japanese Grand Prix version will have a deluxe set, so there's going to be photo etch that is specific to the configuration that it ran in Japan. We're going to get a reissue of the Suzuki Hustler, so this will be like the 4th or 5th one of those, and this one is going to be molded in candy pink, because who doesn't need a hot pink Hustler? A reissue of the 1979 Toyota Crown 2.8 hardtop. So this is another one of the sort of older 1980s Toyota Crown tools that Fujimi has floating around in the warehouse. This kit has not been released, at least in a configuration where it can be built factory stock, in probably close to 20 years. Also, they're going to reissue the Porsche 911 3.8 RSR. Now, that is a curbside version of the 911, but also another kit that hasn't been reissued. I want to say it's probably been about 10 or 12 years since the last time that came out. Over at Hasegawa, we're going to get a reissue of the BMW 2002. This is the one in the 1971 Swedish Rally livery. It's going to be several new parts here, new front headlight setup. I believe there are new wheels involved here as well. A couple other new pieces that are specific to the 1971 Rally season and this car specifically. You're going to get a reissue of the 124 scale Tyrrell 021 F1 car from the 1993 season. A reissue of the 124 scale Plus Lola T9050 Formula 3000 car from the 1990 season. Reissue of the Lancia Delta HFL Integral, and this one is going to be the ski package car. So this is something that also has not been reissued probably in 10 or 15 years, is the regular Delta HF Integral street car, but this has several figures and a ski rack included. So these folks are going on ski holiday. So it's been a while since that kit's been reissued. They're getting a modified reissue of the 1991 Suzuki Jimny. So this is going to be, I originally said it was the oldest one of the Jimny kits as far as the year goes. This actually be the newest one of the Jimny kits as far as model year goes. I believe there's no actually new tooled pieces in here, because all of the pieces have, over the course of the previous 3 releases, been included in this kit. So you're only getting a new set of decals. You'd have to actually sit down with several of the kits and figure out which ones are the parts that you didn't use in the past that you are using specifically for this newest version, in order to see what the new parts are, as it were. You're getting a reissue of the Mitsubishi Evo 3 in the 1996 New Zealand Rally Winner configuration. That kit does not appear to have Rothman's logos on it, just the colors. I have not bothered to go check to see if that's correct or not. I want to say that I've seen replacement decals for this that do include the Rothman's livery, so research will be key on that if you want to purchase that and build it to be accurate. And then the last kit is going to be another issue of the Honda Civic Ferio Japanese Touring Car Championship little race car, the 4-door. This is going to be the 1994 Intertech race. And it is a very interesting livery choice. It is a new livery. There were 4 of these kits done originally, and this one should be a 5th livery, so they're adding new decals to the kit. Because this livery has never been done before, and this livery only ran the Intertech race, which, if you watched and I know I need to get back to them, but I just don't have time, the Japanese Touring Car Championship video series that we started doing, the Intertech race was a sort of an international drawing in international racers and teams from beyond Japan to race in this one race at Fuji at the end of the year. And this car only ran that race, was only run at that one race, and didn't do particularly fantastically well overall or even within the class. So it's a very interesting choice of liveries, but I'm just happy to have any new Japanese Touring Car Championship car, so I'm always on board for those. And then last but not least, over at Aoshima, you're going to get a reissue of the 2014 Toyota Pro Box, which is the little sort of commercial van they did last year. And this is going to have a tie-in to God Hand, the model tool people, probably most well known for their nippers, their side cutters. They do make a bunch of other hobby tools. And so this is going to have a Japanese anime decal scheme for it. So basically there's just decals being added to the Pro Box kit. Reissue of the Toyota Hilux Surf in the model car lineup. And this, of course, is what we would call a 4Runner here. The left-hand drive parts and pieces are still included in this kit. They were injected molded. They were not resin additions. Back when American Satco was around, they left-hand drived a bunch of kits. This one was left-hand drive at the factory. There are no 4Runner decals, just Hilux ones. So while you can build it as a left-hand drive car, you cannot build it as a North American spec car. Reissue of the 1991 Mitsubishi Pajero Metal Top Wide XR2. This kit was reissued not too terribly long ago, I say about 3 years ago, for the first time in a really long time. Once again, it's just being put into the model car lineup. And then you, in the tuned model car side of things, you get the 1995 Toyota Hilux New Old School, as I like to call this kit. So it's the new body style 95 Toyota Hilux, but it is the old school lowrider style pickup truck that Aoshima made quite a few of over the years. In various, there's two different Hiluxes. There's the older style Hilux and then the newer style Hilux. There's also, of course, the Datsun pickup truck. In the more Grand Champion series, to continue the reissue there, you have the Japan 4-door, which is a 1980s C210 Skyline, and the Toyota Chaser X41 generation. On the straight reissue slate at Aoshima, you're going to get a reissue of the 2012 Toyota 86 GT, the 2011 Subaru Standbar in the World Rally Blue Metallic kit, the 85 Toyota Truno Sprinter Apex GT, the 1997 Toyota Celsior Auto Couture VIP, the Nissan Skyline R34 GTR Mines kit, reissue of the Liberty Walk Liberty Works GTR Ken and Mary 2014 edition. That is the powder blue 1970s GTR. Reissue of the Liberty Walk R35 GTR Volume 1.5. And the Grand Champion series, those of course were reissued last year, so they're just restocking. They're going to reissue the Grand Champion Skyline 2000 GTES and the Grand Champions Toyota Chaser X41. Also, the 1980 Mazda Familia, the Vertex JZX 100 Mark II Tourer 5 Toyota, the Nissan Skyline R30 Genesis, the Truno AE86 Initial D in the Volume 1, and the Volume 37 specifications. Those were supposed to come out in December, but they were pushed back to January for some reason. When we talk about the Initial D kits, there are 3 of them, as you may recall. We talk about this every time, but I just want to go over it because there's always new people. Volume 1 is the comic book specification, which is the most basic, just, tofu delivery vehicle, factory stock AE86, except for, of course, having Watanabe wheels. The Volume D, or the Project D car, is middle grade. There are some engine upgrades, a couple of interior upgrades, but it's still not the full bore on Volume 37 kit, which has a roll cage, racing seats, another set of engine intakes and exhausts. It is sort of the kit that has the most parts that you can do the most configurations with in terms of the that specific sort of late build version of the 86 Truno. So we always say that's the best value for your money, is to get that one, because no matter how you decide to build it, if you're just going to do something from the Initial D, you're just going to do the tofu delivery vehicle, or you can do whatever you want to with it. Obviously, color palette wise and customization wise, you have all of the options to build it that way. So that, guys, wraps up the January kits. I'm sure there's something there that you find money leaving your wallet over. If not, well, we still have 11 more months of 2019 to go, and I'm sure there'll be things out there that will trip your trigger eventually. So anyway, guys, that's it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Again, you have a Happy New Year, and we'll see you guys on the other side.